And I want you to just take a moment and think, how did you react to that question? Do coaches think they're better than they are? Yeah, sometimes it's easy to think like I'm a great coach, but every time I'm really honest with myself, I'm like, there's so much more.
What we do know is how they show up in the world. What's the evidence? What's obvious? And one thing we know that, well, why don't 90% of the coaches do the work? Which means that I know that this is going to stretch me pretty much. But the process of getting feedback and putting your stuff out there, even if it's a book, it's a very uncomfortable process. Same thing as you putting yourself out as a coach.
But also every coach is very different.
That, you
Yeah.
know what, I need to put this thing to test. Not for another person, not compared to another coach, not compared to my ecosystem, but what would my clients think? Right now, I'm sending my book that's to be published in the next few months for feedback. It's actually a very uncomfortable process for me. And I'm not even fixing it. So I did the initial editing I'm sending them like, just go through it. Tell me what landed, what didn't, what stood out, what didn't stand out. Some of it is really good feedback. Some of it is like, hey, this part didn't make any sense. This part, I feel like I was a little bit confused. It is not comfortable for me hearing any of this stuff. I don't know what the hell is going to come back to but that feedback is helping me. Not only that, I'm doing a workshop based on the book, so I'm going to test out some of the ideas on the workshop. I'm already don't have, I have much less sign up than compared to my other workshops because we're testing out the message. We don't know what's working, what's not. And I'm like, I guess that's normal. I'm moving forward. But the process of getting feedback and putting your stuff out there, even if it's a book, it's a very uncomfortable process. Same thing as you putting yourself out as a coach. And pretty much everything you do in business is going to be like that. It's not going to stop. And it's not going to get better either. Because if you're growing, if you're thinking, I remember I used to say to myself, like, at some point, I'm going to get comfortable with this process. The only thing that I've gotten comfortable with is the process of discomfort. I'm okay with it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think there is a fundamental baseline too. Like there's a skill set too, like coaching skill sets. There's all these fundamental skill sets too that you can actually get better and it can be measured, right? Like are you able to listen in a call? Like are you able to listen and are you able to reflect back to the client? Are you able to make space for them? Are you able to create safety? There's lots of skill sets in here. So like yes, there's stuff that you can objectively get better at, but also every coach is very different. And every coach's personality and their energy is very different. So you don't have to be like another coach. Maybe there's parts of other coaches, skill sets that you want to emulate and grow that you want to learn from. But like Faisal and I are, for example, we're very different coaches. We're going to have very different client bases. Even if
Yeah.
we were in the same industry, we'd have very different client bases, right?
Yeah.
And those are the people who resonate with me versus him. There's probably some people who would, from his clients, that would not resonate with me at all, and vice versa. A lot of my people would be like, I really don't like Faisal.
That's as heartbreaking as that sounds. I've accepted that that's true.
Yeah, it is true. At the same time, I don't want to let coaches escape the reality that there's often pieces of their skill sets that need to improve to create a better experience and to create a better container for their clients. So
And that
go ahead.
go for it.
I was gonna say, so it's one of the things we do with our pro and core members in CMC. We have a coaching sales clinic where we come in, the group of coaches who are part of the membership come in and we watch the coaching session. And this is something that doesn't happen outside of your in your regular coaching. Like this is private, so we don't get to see you, nobody gets to see anybody else coach typically. And so you don't get that feedback. But in this example, we set this up to do feedback, and there's a long story behind how this evolves because we tested a lot of different ways to do this. And this is the current iteration where we provide feedback to that client and coach, to that coach who is coaching the client in front of the group. And this is a pretty valuable discussion because everybody's learning. Everybody's seeing other ways that other coaches coach. Everybody's seeing some of the debrief and the feedback, and people who are maybe a little bit farther along can say like, "Oh, here's what we saw." And at the same time, people who are early in their journey can actually say, "Well, here's what we saw." Everybody's learning in a different way. One of the beautiful things about that is there is a very clear connection between your coaching skill and your sales skills, and you can actually get that direct feedback, which is so rare. Like it's hard to get the kind of like your clients, are they going to tell you that you sucked? Probably not for them. Like it's rare for a client to say that was terrible. because clients aren't as good at giving feedback as coaches, and even coaches aren't as good as giving feedback as they need to be. So like there's another skill to work on, the skill of giving and receiving feedback. So I think that like one of the reasons this evolved in CMC is because that's super important to take a look at your own coaching and to see how you're doing and get other perspectives. And one way you can do this right now is go to your last coaching call and watch it. But you got to book time in your calendar to watch it. Like it's really hard to block off an hour and be like, or 2 hours, or whatever length your coaching call was, and watch it. And don't watch it distracted. Don't watch your own session distracted. Watch it, take notes, and figure out what is it that you were doing and what worked, what didn't work. Where's your edge of growth?